Oh, man. I guess it's come to this now, huh? Excuse me, Olden. I think it's time to open up a can of one of these. How's it going, everybody? This is Phil. This article has been going around. I'm not going to give a link, and you guys can Google it. I mean, you can see the author. You've probably read it already. Just figured I'd, I'm not going to read through it. I find it to be laborious. It's not going to be anything that we're going to engage in. I'm just going to kind of talk about what's going on here. I've seen other people comment on this article, and I guess I had to get my licks in as well. There's a few spins and theories on why Solo underperformed that the mainstream media and all the shills are throwing out there. Nobody wants to come out and say that fans didn't turn out because they were pissed off. All right, they felt they weren't being heard, and they were made to feel disrespected, and ultimately took a knee on going to see this mess of a movie to try and shine a light on Disney's Star Wars and Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy and her menagerie of line-towing suck-ups who have repeatedly belittled and insulted their customers, the fans of this beloved Star Wars franchise that we just we hold so dear to our hearts. But of all the theories, just the stupid, nonsensical idea of white men being box office poison takes the cake of being the most offensive pile of horse shit conjured up thus far. I mean, look, there's room at the table for everybody. Everyone can get a piece of the pie. Fans love to root for Captain America because he's truly heroic, not white. All right, we love Black Panther because he's a heroic young king with amazing abilities, and we're invested in his growth as a character. I mean, maybe we can't have the Winter Soldier come back since he's called the White Wolf now, and that's the ultimate form of male toxicity offensiveness. I don't know. It seems to be a moving target with the rules here. I mean, is there something to be said about imagining yourself in the shoes of a protagonist if you bear physical similarities? Sure, no one's denying that. But again, like I've stated before, all we want are great characters and quality storytelling at the end of the day, and it doesn't matter what race or color or gender is on the screen. Look at the Matrix movies. Sure, Neo is the main quote-unquote white protagonist, but Trinity and Morpheus stand on their own as equally powerful characters, and all have admirable heroic attributes anybody would aspire to. I guess male toxicity wasn't an issue for Avatar on its way to grossing $2.7 billion at the box office, with the lead role was a white Marine from the Jarhead clan. Or I guess maybe since Jake Sully was in a wheelchair, he was considered less threatening and offensive to audiences, so that character wasn't as toxic in the end. And in the end he becomes a tall blue cat person with a tail, so that's not all that offensive or unrelatable. I mean, that's a finite list of parameters for an acceptable hero. I don't know how many blue cat people with tails are going to get into any other movies besides the Avatar franchise. And really, whether you like that movie or not, I'm sure your mileage would have stayed the same if it was Sam Worthington or Michael B. Jordan that was cast as Jake Sully. I just don't remember growing up rejecting characters as a child, or not vicariously enjoying their adventures because they were different from myself. I just had fun and enjoyed the journey. I used my imagination and put myself in the character's situation. They didn't need to look like me, for me to make that leap as a child, and they still don't to this day. I mean, what's the quote? Yoda. Truly wonderful the mind of a child is. Somehow when we're kids, we seem to get the spirit of adventure and look past all the other bullshit. Now I don't know if things aren't the same. I mean, I can only assume it's somewhat different with technology, and how 3-year-olds have their own tablets, and they constantly have a screen in front of them. Listen, adults are the same. We're constantly plugged in. We have cell phones, and we're always doing other things, distracting ourselves. Maybe that stunted our ability to imagine. As grown-ups, it's probably going to have an effect down the road for younger generations. I don't know. I just remember being a kid and going outside and picking up sticks and wiffle ball bats. And making pretend that they were guns or laser blasters, and having lightsaber battles, pretending, to act out scenes from movies, having sword fights, pretending that, we were, in The Princess Bride. I mean, we lost ourselves in the experience playing, just like we did when we watched the movie. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's impossible to ask of people today. I like to think we're more evolved as a culture, and not everybody needs to be led by the hand and have articles like this fanning the flames of dissonance. It just seems disingenuous to me. Dare I say poison, Scott. And it doesn't seem to be contributing anything of value to the matter at hand, and why this Star Wars film actually failed to reach its projected audience and its goals. This is just a clickbait article passing itself off as some type of woken social justice epiphany to encourage academic discourse, and I call bullshit. It's trolling for views, so people link to your article. You're essentially a professional troll. When you fill out your W-2, where it says occupation, you write professional troll, Scott. You're being a fly in the ointment, a monkey in a wrench, a pain in the ass, as John McClane would say. You're being a rabble-rouser, an agitator, a shit stirrer. You're a meddler. You're meddlesome. Scott Meddlesome. That's your name now, Scott. Congratulations, you've earned it. Look, I don't have a reach like other channels I watch and listen to. Nowhere near as close. These guys have 50,000 subs plus. I have 5. But, if I could shed some light on this nonsense, and one of my 5 subs gets something out of it, then I did my job for the day. In a handful of videos I've done, I just want to get on here and talk about Star Wars, and I do love Star Wars. I'm not trying to bag on it all the time, and we'll get to more positive stuff. But right now it's been so much of a dumpster fire, But I just want to get on here and talk about what's going on in Star Wars and the fandom, and make fun of Solo's box office numbers, and Craig Double K, Kathleen Kennedy, and Jar Jar Abrams, and bubbleheaded Ryan Johnson, and jackass John Kasdan, and Fast Freddie Prinze Jr. And laugh at what's going on while maybe working in an occasional dick joke instead of worrying about a joke of an article written by a dick. What an odd article for someone to write who I guess fancies himself some type of social justice white knight who apparently hates the color of his own armor. What a weirdo. Just a troll. Look. And Scott, I'm sure you've accomplished more than I will. Maybe I ever will. And good for you. Congratulations. Pat yourself on the back. But if I may be so bold, take my humble advice, Mr. Meddlesome. Maybe take a page out of Roseanne Barr's playbook and release a statement saying you wrote the article while experiencing some form of Zambian-induced haze, and then go back to quietly hating the color of your own skin. I mean, Jesus. Anyway, listen. What are my handful of subs think about this? If you like my take, then like the article, and if you're new and you just stumbled onto this, feel free to sub, and leave a comment. And that's really all I got to say about this. Have a great day, everybody. Be happy, be safe, be healthy. Scott, kiss my white ass. And may the force be with us all. Good Lord. Jeez.